Hey friends, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 394. I'm Lisa, also known as Fiber Nymph, and today is Thursday, July 28th. And it just poured down rain for about 2 minutes, super hard, out of nowhere. I was thinking about going out onto the deck because I didn't think it was supposed to be rainy. I thought it was just supposed to be overcast. Thank goodness I didn't do that because you would be seeing me in my drowned rat appearance. Ugh. Anyway, here we are. It works out because Bill is at a meeting somewhere today, so I was able to just take over the porch room and move things around and come out here. So all is well. Welcome, and I'm glad you're here. And if you are a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. I hope you enjoy it. I do have several projects I'm going to show you today. There will be show notes and links to project pages down in the description box below the video here on YouTube. I post my show notes there. I post them in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Ravelry group, and I post them in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works blog on my business website. So all of that stuff is linked below. Hopefully you can find what you're looking for in one of those places, or whichever is accessible to you. Also, I have a YouTube membership available, which is just one level, and it's just a way if you would like to help support the channel and support the content. I greatly appreciate it. You do get some bonus content throughout the month, which is always little bits, little pictures, or little videos, and it's just something fun and extra I can share with you as my way of saying thank you. But a big thank you to everyone who is currently supporting the channel through my membership. I appreciate you guys doing that. Let's see. What am I wearing? No knitwear. We can pass right over that. Just a couple announcements though. The accessories and gift sale is still going on in the shop. That's going to be happening throughout the month of August through summer. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you can go do that. No coupon necessary. All of the gifts and accessories are just automatically marked down. I am planning another my next shop update. It will be Friday, August 5th at noon. I don't usually do noon updates, but I'm going to be going away camping that weekend later in the afternoon, and I don't want to have to rely on being able to connect to the internet from the campground just in case something would go wrong. I would rather have it kick off while I'm still here at the house. So Friday the 5th at noon will be the next shop update, and I will tell you a little bit more about that in the shop news segment later on. And just to give you a heads up, there's also going to be a shop update 2 Fridays after that, which will be the 19th. I have not set the time for that yet. It's more likely to be a regular evening update, but those are the only 2 shop updates that will be happening in August. So just giving you the heads up on that. Okay, let us get into the 90% part of the podcast where I'm going to show you things I've been working on. And I have one finished object that I can share with you today. I just have to figure out where I put it. Here it is. It's a pair of socks. Not on sock blockers, but I hope that's okay. This is my Feathers and Tunes socks. I did finish those up probably shortly after I recorded last time. This is my yarn, Fiber Nymph Dye Works, the Bounce base and the colorway was Feathers and Tunes, which was the end of the year, full year reward exclusive colorway for those who took place in last year's make along. Yeah, so that's what they earned. I will be putting this into the shop this winter as a general colorway. Actually, no, it's already in the shop. Sorry, it has been in the shop. I don't know if I think there's still some left in the shop. It'll be in the shop again at some point too, or I can do a special order if you like it. But anyway, that's the colorway. I'm trying to think. Actually, this might have been the exclusive colorway 2 years ago, not last year. I get confused because I dye the exclusive colorways the year after the make-along's over, so then it always confuses me as to which year it was for. Regardless, it is available in the shop now. And this is just my regular 2x1 rib, cuff, and foot heel flap, gusset. Nothing fancy, just my usual US 1 needles, and I did make these for me, so I get to keep these. I really like this colorway. So that's my only finished object this week. Okay. Sorry, my show notes are printed out here, so I have to check them out. I do have another pair of socks, though, that I've moved on to. I am trying to stay focused on like one pair of socks at a time right now because shocker, I get through them faster if I'm not working on 5 different pairs at a time. Just projects in general go much faster whenever I stay a little bit focused on one at a time. So the next pair of socks that I pulled out and have out in the dining room, because that's when I do most of my sock knitting. I've said this a million times, when I'm sitting out at the table in the morning or after dinner or whatever. So these are my Mer-Mazing socks. And again, this is my Fiber Nymph Dye Works Bounce Base. The Mer-Mazing color, Your Mer-Mazing was the colorway. This is the Splash Pad Party exclusive colorway for this summer, which is going to be in the shop just a few more days. The Splash Pad Party ends on at the end of this month. That's the 31st, right? There's 31 days this month? I think so. Yeah, so that's when that knit along ends, and that's hosted by Jen of Boston Jen of Down Cellar Studio podcast. And this was the colorway that I did as the exclusive colorway. And I have my first sock has been done for a while, and I don't know why I let these languish for so long, to tell you the truth, since I'm also participating really loosely in the Splash Pad Party. But like these would count for lots of points because it's a project and it's using an exclusive, actually it's using multiple exclusive items because the bags, the Your Mer-Mazing bags are by Adorn It, and she and I teamed up to do these sets. She did the bags and the stitch markers and I did the yarn. So all these things count. It's awesome if you like to do things for points. Anyway, here's my second sock. The cuff's done, and I just finished doing the gusset decreases this morning, so now it's just the rest of the foot. So I am pretty confident that I will get these done before the end of the Splash Pad Party. Really nothing else too exciting to announce. It's the same exact thing, 2x1 rib, US 1 needles. I already said bounce base, so there you go. And again, if you want to order this, it is in the shop as a die to order. But it'll only be available for the next few days, and then it will be gone from the shop probably until next summer when I'll put it back in just as a regular shop item. So there you go. That is my other sock project. And once I finish that one, I'm going to move on to another pair that I have started. And oops, that's not the bag though. Where is it? Here it is. That I wanted to show you because I don't think you got to see this colorway in the last shop, or in the last video, my last podcast. That's the word I'm looking for. This colorway was my new colorway in the last shop update, and it's called Gathering Seashells, which, by the way, thank you so much for the enthusiastic response to this colorway. It's sold out originally, and then I dyed up more and put it in the shop. I think there's maybe 2 skeins of Bedazzled in the shop right now. I will have more of this in the next shop update though. But this is Gathering Seashells, and this is a 7-stripe colorway that I dyed up based on the colors of seashells that I had collected when I was in Florida this year at my mom's, and I just love it. This is the Traveler base, which is my sport weight base. And I'm making these for Bill. I've never made him sport weight socks before. I've always done fingering weight, and he's liked them. But working out here in this room in the winter, underneath here is a garage and it's unheated. And so the floor gets really cold. Plus he sits over there by the French doors. So even though it's insulated, there is some, cold drafts that can come in. And he often complains that his feet are cold in the winter, even in his wool socks, and sometimes even in his smart wool socks, because he claims those are warmer. Whatever. So I thought I would try making him a pair of sport weight socks to see if they were any warmer and if he liked them. Sport weight socks tend to be a little too warm for me when I'm in the house, but I'm not sitting out here in a cold area either, so he may like them. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with these. I would like to get these done in time to give them to them for our anniversary, which is next month. And I think I can do that. Sport weight socks go pretty quickly, and if I focus on them, although that's the thing, like I usually knit at the table, and I don't know not that he's not observant, but I'm not sure if he would recognize that I've knit those socks in front of him when I gave them to him. Maybe if I don't make a big deal out of it, he won't notice. I don't know that he'll even care that I was knitting them in front of him, but whatever. That's going to be my next sock project to focus on once I finish the Mer-Mazing socks. So, let's see what's else. What else is on the list? Oh, okay. I don't know why I have this marked as a finished object on here. It is definitely not. It is a work in progress. But it was a new cast on last time. And I've made a good bit of progress, and that is my Weekender Light sweater or pullover by Andrea Mowry, which I am heavily modifying. And the yarn that I am using for this sweater is, again, my bounce base. It's the big bounce week here. And this was the Dark Rainbow half skein project set. So it had 6 skeins in the dark rainbow colors, 6 rainbow colors. And when you saw it last time, I think I was beyond the ribbing, but not by a whole ton. I have now gotten to the point where I am past where you separate for the armholes. So not by a lot, like you can see right there, that amount. That's how much further I am, and I stopped at a weird place because I'm ready to join the next color. So it's going really well. I'm really, really enjoying this project. I resisted doing fingering weight sweaters for a really long time because being a larger person, it just always seemed daunting. It just seemed like so much knitting on smaller needles with lighter weight yarn. But ever since I finished my my Simple Stripes sweater earlier this year, I'm a fan. I really like how they feel without having the bulk of like a DK or a worsted weight yarn. Because that just makes me feel even bulkier. But yeah, so this is going well. So like I said, I've heavily modified this, and I did mention some of the mods last time, but I'll just recap. I did the split hem, but I did both the front and the back the same length because I don't like the back to be longer. That's not my jam. I am doing this with a stockinette facing fabric. This is written to be in reverse stockinette with a really cool slip stitch detail going up the center of the front and the back of the sweater. It looks great, and when I did my regular weekender, that's how I made it. I just don't like wearing reverse stockinette. I don't like the look of it. I like the look of it, but I don't like the look of it in a garment on me. I don't know why. Maybe it's a texture thing. Maybe it's more feel than look. I don't know. But I knew making this one I did not want it to be reverse stockinette. So I am doing it stockinette, and I was still going to do that slip stitch detail. I quickly realized though that it was getting lost, which isn't a surprise. So you can see down here. I mean, you can see it, but not super well. And so then I started doing it with more than just 1 stitch. I think I was doing it with 3. And then I decided, you know what? I'm just going to improvise a decorative cable detail to go up the front and the back. So this is going up both sides. And yeah, I'm just playing with things. And the inside of those little cable bits are purled, so they stand out a little bit more. I can see it better actually in person than it is showing up on the screen, which is the opposite of how things are often shown. Let me see if I can get it closer. Oh, that's maybe a little better. You can kind of see it. So I have no chart for this. I'm just doing, moving cables around and making little blobs, cable blobs. But I like it. It's standing out more than just that single slip stitch detail would have stood out on the stockinette face. So I'm good with that. What else have I done differently? Did the armhole split yesterday, stockinette face, cable detail. Oh, I had mentioned I'm probably going to be doing short sleeves if I do any sleeves at all. It's all going to depend on how much yarn I have left. I'm going to need to do about 2 more color repeats to get through the top part of the sweater and possibly a little beyond that. I can't remember. I did figure it out at one point. So, I mean, I have, like, this is what I have left of the orange one after doing the first top, you know, post armhole split. That doesn't look like a lot. Well, it actually does compared to, because it was only a half skein to begin with. And it honestly doesn't seem to take a lot to do one row, especially now that I'm just working on half of the sweater. So we'll see. I'll be perfectly fine with it when I'm done if I only have enough to do like a cuff, you know, some ribbing along the armholes. That'll be fine because it is a drop shoulder construction or design. So that's fine. I'm planning on this being like sort of a transition sweater anyway, you know, when it's not super cold, but even in the winter I could probably wear a lightweight long sleeve top underneath it and it would be fine. If I do for some reason end up with enough yarn to do like even like, you know, half length sleeves or 3/4 length sleeves, then maybe I'll do that. I don't know, but I'm not counting on that. I did mention last time that I am joining using the clasped weft join process, which I believe I linked to in the last video, so you might want to check that out. It's a way of joining yarns when you're working in the round like that. Well, you can do it working flat too, because now that I'm working flat I'm still able to do it. But it keeps you from having to weave in your ends. A lot of people use them on scrappy projects where you're, you know, marling and adding in new yarns all the time. I don't know how this is going to hold up. But this is an experiment. I think it should be okay because I'm doing it over quite a stretch of stitches. And what you end up with is an area where your stitches are basically doubled. The yarn is double for ways as you're doing that clasp weft. And I was concerned that that might be really evident. But you know what? I can't see it and I can't feel it. So I think it's going to be okay. Oh, the other thing I did do is I did 3 sets of decreases in the last color repeat right under the arm because as I checked my gauge, well, I didn't technically check my gauge. I just figured out how big it was going to be. I didn't compare it to what the gauge is supposed to be in the pattern because it's supposed to be an oversized sweater anyway. And I was making a smaller size to get less positive ease, so I think it's all going to work out fine. I know that's not the way you're supposed to knit a sweater, but it'll be okay. At any rate, I wanted to have a little less fabric as I was nearing the armhole split, so I did do 3 decreases through that last color repeat just to decrease. It decreased probably about 2.5 inches, and I think that'll be fine because this is a superwash yarn. I know it's going to grow. I'm counting on it growing lengthwise a little bit too, just because I do want it to be a tiny bit longer than where I stopped. But I did that on purpose knowing that the superwash yarn is going to grow. So anyway, I think that's everything I've done differently from the pattern, which is a lot. But I like being able to do that. I like making a pattern my own and using the pattern sort of as a guideline as opposed to a hard and fast rule that I absolutely must follow. I think that's the fun of knitting, like being able to modify things to make them be what you want them to be. So, yeah. Do you do that too? Are there any modifications? What's the pattern you've knit maybe that you have modified the most, that it's like maybe not even recognizable as the original pattern? I'd love to know because I just think that's such fun when people play like that. And I know some people don't have the confidence to do that, and that's fine because it's a skill that you build over the years of knitting, and you can start small. But I would highly encourage you to try doing some mods on your patterns, just to, even if it's not for fit, just to make it maybe be more what you want it to look like. So just an encouragement there. All right, I did cast on a new project. I had showed you my July year, no, not year of the stash, my July 2020 yarn stash challenge, stash yarn challenge. Wow, can't even say it. I'm doing this just for myself. You'll remember I put 12 things of yarn, had Bill put them in 12 bags, and I've just been pulling one each month and trying to use that yarn from my stash. And so far it's going really well. I showed you the yarn that I picked for July last time, which was this, I'm dropping things, sorry. It was a mini set, which obviously some of them are in balls now. In Bounce, again with the Bounce, the Secret Garden colorway. I've had this one laying around for quite some time, so I'm really excited to be using it. And the pattern I finally decided on doing with it is this one, which is called Rogue River. The Rogue River Cowl by Kay Hopkins. This was a pattern. It's a mosaic pattern. In case you can't tell, that's mosaic work down there. This pattern was part of a 3 cowl collection that I was gifted by Carol from the A Stitch in Time podcast for a prize that I won for taking part in her the Year of the Stash make-along. So I thought it was really kind of appropriate to use it for my own personal stash yarn challenge, which also qualifies for her make-along. So I started this, and my idea though, as you will see, instead of using one solid color for the background and then a gradient of colors for all of this, the contrast, I'm flipping it and I'm using the gradient as my main color throughout, and I'm just using one single color for all of the contrast bits. And I really like how it's turning out. I'm in my second color right now, and I have to figure out how to do this and show you without things going everywhere. This may be a challenge. Okay, so sorry. This is what I've got. Okay, don't, it fell. Okay, this is what I've got so far. And so I started with the darkest color in the gradient, which was the brown. And I'm now into the second color, which is this sort of Merlot-y kind of color there. And then this is Bounce. The mini set was in Bounce, and I'm using some soft black in Bedazzled as my contrast for all of the garter stitch stripes. Those are all garter ridges, which I know you can't see super well in the brown. You can see it better in person. It's so weird. Sometimes the camera shows things off better. And then, you know, that goes down. Now, I did do some calculations, and I think I ended up with 40 or 44. Every 40 to 44 rows, I'll change my background color so I can work through all 5 of the colors. I am going to probably have a good bit left of some of the colors. Like, let's see, this is what I had left of the brown. Now, as I get to the wider areas of the cowl, I don't know, I may end up running short, which means I may end up doing more rows and then backing off rows with the colors as I go, if that makes sense, so that I can get further down and make sure that I can use all the yarn, and because I want to end with the very lightest color, which is this light green. I had a false start to this project because I misread, well, I didn't misread it, I just didn't read it well enough to realize that the cowl starts up at the neck portion. It's knit flat, and then this top little bit here, trying to remember where the increases stopped, probably right around here. You knit so far and you're doing 3 increases on each right side row, and then after a certain point you stop and you're only doing 1 increase on each right side row. Anyway, and then it gets seamed at the other point. It's kind of like a big odd shaped triangle that then you seam. I'm sure you've seen cowls like that before. Anyway, yeah, so that's where I'm at. I did modify this as well as far as one element of the cowl. The way she had you doing the edge stitches, I just could not catch. Like, it was not becoming intuitive to me. There was a lot of like knit and then slip with yarn in the front and then purl and slip with yarn in the front, and then, but it wasn't turning out to look like anything that I could recognize as being like really design element-ish. and I wasn't understanding it. So at one point, from about here on, I just started doing, at the end of each row, I slipped the last 2 stitches with the yarn held in the front and then knit them on the next row to make just this little I-cord edge. And it's turning out fine, and I like it. I think it looks nice, and I think it will be easy enough to incorporate into the rest of the pattern. So I've just simplified that for myself. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Okay, so this was the side. I don't know. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the shape of the cowl. I know it'll work out, and I'm just trusting the pattern. But as I'm working it, I'm having trouble like visualizing how it's going to come together. But I know it will come together. It'll be fine. I'm pretty sure this is the part that will be like up here, like joined. I'm pretty sure that's it. So anyway, so this is the Rogue River Cowl by Kay Hopkins that I'm doing. I have no illusion that I'm going to get this done in July. Matter of fact, I don't intend to even try to get it done in July because I have other things that are more of a priority for me to knit on. And my deal is I just want to use this yarn. It's not that I have to absolutely use it in the month that I opened it. So anyway, yeah, and what needles am I using? I believe I'm using US 3s. So that's that. It's an enjoyable project, though. I am having fun with it. Oh, gosh. Now I have to kind of put it away before the yarn escapes again. Okay, so even though I just said I have no intention of finishing this in July, and it's going to take a while, and that's fine, I did bring out the bag that I picked for August's Stash Yarn Challenge, just because I want to have it at the ready in case, you know, I find myself in need to do some sort of quick project. I don't know what yarn's in it yet, so it might not be yarn that lends itself to being a quick project, but I thought it would be fun, since August is just a few days away, to open the bag here with you and see what it is. And isn't this yarn, this fabric pretty? I love this fabric. I think, yeah, it is a fat squirrel bag. I was going to say, I think it's a fat squirrel bag, but there's a tag. It is indeed a fat squirrel bag. So let's see what's in here. Oh, it's hand spun. This is my hand spun. I believe this was a loop bump that I spun, and I meticulously split each of the color segments in half so that I could spin twin skeins. I do not have, again, no label on it, but I do know it's a loop bump, and I'm pretty sure I have the notes for it, so I know what my yardage was and everything. I don't know what I'll do with this, though. I think I originally did this way so that I could do like a pair of mitts or socks, although this is heavy yarn, and I'm sure there's I don't think there's nylon or silk in it. So it may not be the best for socks, but I don't know. I'll have to see. Maybe I'll make myself some big fluffy like bed socks or something. That could be fun because look, there's sparkle in there too. This was such a fun spin. And if you're not familiar, loop bullseye bumps, which I have talked about before, her original ones were like a color gradient, and they were spun in like this very big, almost like pencil roving kind of way, and it was like a center pull ball, but it wasn't a ball. It was a center pull tube of yarn or of fiber that was pretty much just ready to spin. She has, since the original ones, she's come out with ones where the colors repeat a couple of times in them. I think I had 1 or 2 of those too, but this was one that was just once through, the gradient went once through, and it was a really fun gradient. I love these colors. So I am excited to do something with this. Oh, see, I need to not be excited because I don't want to start doing this now, but you can see all the different color segments that are in there. So yeah, I'm going to have to think about that. But this might be fun to do, like just a heavy pair of, you know, socks to wear around the house in the winter. Inside my slippers or to bed. Oh, these would be super hot in bed though, I think, maybe. I don't know. Have to think about it, but I want to take advantage of the fact that I did do the 2 separate skeins. It could be really fun to weave with, though, to tell you the truth. I don't know. I'd have to calculate yardage-wise to see how big of something I could make. I could definitely do some sort of like one of my fringy cowls, I'm sure I could do. It may take yarn management to be able to use all of the colors from both of them, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to think about that because I'm obviously not going to start it anytime soon. But that is what that fiber is. It's some hand-spun loop bullseye bump. So that'll be a fun challenge to figure out what to do with that. So, okay. Moving on, I have another cast on, but it was a cast on fail. And I'm going to share that with you now. Oh, and here's another fun bag. I just got this bag. I don't need any more project bags in my life, to tell you the truth. But every once in a while I see one, it's like, oh, I need that. And it's this one. Isn't it fun? This is one of those Japanese knot bags. And it's by Bandit Fiber Company. I love her stuff. She dyes pretty yarns. She makes really cool bags. She doesn't do anything in huge quantities, but that's sort of the fun of it too, because then you see stuff and you're like, oh, I want that. And I don't remember if it's in here or not, but she sent a little stitch marker. Oh, I don't know that I have it in here. I may have, it might be sitting on my nightstand. Gosh, suddenly I'm just having like, whoo, heat flash. Woo-ha. Power Surge. I like that name for them. Anyway, I can't find the stitch marker. There was a really cute little moon stitch marker in here. So, but little tarot card bag. I just thought it was super cute. Anyhow, okay. And I'll link her shop in the show notes too. So the pattern that I told you I was going to make for my daughter with some yarn that I had purchased and the pattern that we had picked out together was the Gilmore bralette. And I'm trying to see if I... Okay, here's a picture of what it looks like. It's crocheted. I am not the world's best crocheter. I am very much a beginner crocheter, but I have crocheted her a couple of tops before. So the first part of making this, well, the first step in making this pattern is you have to do these 3 different measurements because you're basically picking how many stitches to work with, calculating them off of the person's measurements that you're making the top for, if that makes any sense. So the first piece is made based on the measurement from the nipple to the underarm, to the side of the underarm. That's how it's written. Now, when I read that, and based on the little drawing here, it really looked to me like they meant nipple to like the center of your underarm. That was the measurement that I took for Emma to get this first piece done. And I realized I think they meant to like the beginning of where your arm sits, not the actual center, which is a big difference. It may only be a couple of inches difference, but it's a big difference and you'll see why. So the first piece you're supposed to make is like one of these triangular cups, and the triangles sit kind of sideways. But this is what it's supposed to look like when you're done. That's the shape you're supposed to end up with. Well, I'll tell you what, I had to start this multiple times because I could not get it in that shape. I was getting just this big, long, finger-looking thing that was so wrong. And I was having a hard time keeping, well, I wasn't having a hard time keeping the right number of stitches. I was just having a hard time getting it shaped right. And finally, I think the third try was the winner. I did finally start to get a wedge, but I think the reason it's taking me so long to get a wedge shape as opposed to just this long bunny ear shape is because this is way too long. Like from here to here is where I started. Like that was the number of stitches that I chained on to start because that was the measurement that I took from nipple to center of the underarm. But when I look at this picture of how that girl's wearing it, it's not to there. I mean, like that's even too big on me, and I'm like way bigger than Emma. I mean, like that would be too big on me. So I need to remeasure her from the edge of her arm to the nipple and cast on far less, or chain on far less. Because if I did that, I mean, you can see, like, even if you just look at it that way, I mean, that's much more of a wedge having a shorter piece, right? That's what I need. So I need to start this again. However, in talking to Emma about this, and she's so sweet. She's like, you don't have to make it. It's okay. And I'm like, but I want to make it for you, and I know I can make it for you. But after this final failure here, or the most recent failure, I said, you know what? Since we're almost coming to the end of summer anyway, I would rather put this on the back burner. I want to make it because I want to, this is a challenge for me, and I'm going to lick it. I'm going to figure it out. But I would rather take my time and go back to that Halloween sweater that I started for her last year. You remember that? What was it called? I don't remember. I don't know. I didn't even bring it in with me. I was going to go grab it and I didn't, but you'll see it in coming weeks because that's going to be the next thing I work on once I finish this Weekender Light. I'm going to concentrate on that and just get it done because she really wants that sweater. Like she'd like this top, but she really wants that Halloween sweater. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's the saga of the top that just isn't quite going right. But I will get back to it and it will happen eventually. But Halloween sweater will take precedence since Halloween is coming. And actually, for some of us, Halloween is present all year long. We just enjoy it. So project-wise, the only other thing that I have worked on since the last time I talked to you is my combo spin. I did do a bonus video about my combo spin showing you how I prepped my fiber. I will link that up here on whichever side it shows up on so you can watch it if you're interested. I wish I had a better setup for doing those kinds of videos. I did do it outside just because the lighting was best out there at the point that I was doing it. So, hi Babette. I would pick Babette up to show you, but she's really furry and I don't want fur all over me. She's a super shedder. Aren't ya? Aren't ya, huh? Can I pick you up without you, like, touching me? Hi. Have you guys seen that cat wiggle video thing? It's going around TikTok. Like if you pick a cat up like that and you wiggle them and they don't freak out, then they're supposed to be a really chill cat. Some of those videos are hilarious. That's actually not super good for a cat, especially a big heavy cat like Babette, because they need the support on their butt, but it's sort of funny. Anyway, that's Babette in case y'all haven't met her before. She doesn't make many appearances on the podcast like she used to when she was younger and more slender, like we all used to be. I'm not body shaming you, honey. It's fine. You are perfect just the way you are. I just wish you shed a little bit less. Do not rub against the tripod, please. Thank you. Move along. Yeah. Oh, oh no, sorry. I have to get rid of her now. Come on, go. Okay. A little Babette interlude. Hopefully she will not come back and continue to rub on the tripod. Alright, so I did start my combo spin. I have not worked on it really much at all since doing the fiber prep because I did that the day before Bill and I were going away for a long weekend and I just haven't had a chance to sit down at it, but I do like how the fiber's prepped out and I can't wait to work on it. That is not a project that I feel like I need to do in any short period of time. It's just going to take how long it takes, and that'll be fine. And when I'm done with it and I have all the yarn, then I can start the DRK everyday sweater, which is my goal for that combo spin. But again, it's a long-term project. I'm looking at it that way from the very outset, and so I will update you on it as I can. I will have perhaps maybe put a picture in here of what the bobbin looks like so far and what the fluff looks like. But again, I'll link that video. I will have linked that already in case you want to check that out. So that brings us to upcoming. And honestly, it's really just a matter of prioritizing for me right now. because I'm launching into my busy period of the year. You know, it's funny, every year goes like this. Like summer tends to be slow. Sometimes it's way slower than I want business-wise. And I'm not quite as busy. I'm trying to work ahead, but like there's no pressure. And then all of a sudden we get to this one point. There's like a tipping point towards the end of summer where everything is just, it's like going up a roller coaster. And everything just takes off. It doesn't nosedive, but you know what I mean. Roller coaster. And I know I'm reaching that precipice point where things are going to just start to take off. So I'm trying to be really mindful about my projects because I know I'm going to have to balance them with work that I need to do and other things just going on in life. Because we have a 2-week vacation coming up that we're going to be taking at the very end of August going into September that I also have to work around, which also seems to happen every year. We usually take our big vacations, our big trips in the fall, which is a great time for Bill because it works out well with his work schedule. It's a horrible time for me because that is the beginning of my busiest time of the year. But being self-employed, I have more flexibility with that than he does. So we go with his schedule. And I just have to remember to plan accordingly. Let's talk about the MIYO. We are currently still in our break month, which the break will be over at the end of July, and then we're going to start with the third quarter on August 1st. So the Make It Your Own Mal is going to be back in session, and I can't wait to see what you guys do. The chatter has slowed down a little bit, but sorry, my nose is itchy now ever since I picked up the cat. Yeah, it's going to gear back up, and I hope the chatter will gear back up too. And just a reminder, again, I talked about this last time, but if you're taking part and you've taken part in past quarters, just remember you do need to resubmit a new theme submission form for every quarter. Even if your theme isn't changing from whatever it was the prior quarter, I still need you to submit a new theme form, please. I've had a bunch of them coming in, so I'm assuming people have been remembering. And also just remember too, your projects need to document, something in your project documentation has to let me know how your project connects to the theme, if it's not super obvious. So yeah, so that's it. I'm really looking forward to getting back into the gear of that. And I already know what I'm going to do for next year's year-long make-along. I'm not going to tell you yet, but I'm super stoked that I already know what I want to do, because usually it's like the end of the year, I'm like, oh, I have a couple ideas, but I don't know what I want to do. But this year I know exactly what I want to do next year. It's going to be so much fun. Okay, more about that, obviously, later into the year. We're going to jump into shop news now. Currently, as I said at the top of the episode, the gifts and accessories sale is still going on now through the end of summer, so the end of August. That includes, let's see, the wine glasses, mugs, beer glasses, although I don't know how many beer glasses are left. I don't remember. Shawl pins, notions, so like scissors, darning needles, stitch markers. What else do I have? Knitting needles, the high knitting needles, anything. Oh, the gift cards, like the Knit Bot Pearl, the greeting cards. I have some holiday cards. There's tags, gift tags in there as well. All that stuff is already marked down. You don't need a coupon code. Just go to the shop. And if you click on like accessories over on the side, the whole drop down will show you where they are, and you can get to them and see what they are. I would just like to get some of those moved out because I have other things that I would like to hopefully bring in over the fall and winter months. So yeah, just trying to make it a decent deal for you to get some of the stuff that's been hanging in there for a little while. Oh, I already said shawl pins. Never mind. Okay, so that's happening. The next shop update is going to be happening on Friday, a week from tomorrow. So that's August 5th, and that will be at noon Eastern. Again, because Emma and I are going camping next weekend. We have been planning to do a camping trip together for 2 years and haven't been able to do it. We are doing it next weekend. I can't wait, because camping with Emma is very different than camping with Bill. Bill camps in a weird way. You don't do any of the fun camping stuff. It's just strictly utilitarian. That's it. It's a way to save money on where you stay. I enjoy camping, like the fun part, having the campfire and making mountain pies and, sitting around and not having to do anything. That's my idea of camping. So Emma and I are going to do the fun camping. But because we're going to be leaving probably about 3 o'clock, I didn't want to do an evening update because I can't guarantee I'm going to have decent cell service to check in on the update. And if there's any problems, I'd rather be able to do that from home on my laptop before I leave. So it will be at noon on Friday the 5th. I will have more of the Seashells colorway. Here, I'll show it to you again. Where is it? Gathering Seashells. I will have more of this in the shop. And I will have more on Bounce. That seems to be the base a lot of people want, so I will definitely have more on Bounce. And I'm going to have my first round of fall colorways going in the shop. I don't know how many yet. I don't know which ones. There will be some past fall colorways, and there's going to be one new fall colorway going into this shop update. So again, best way to know what's going on with that is subscribe to the newsletter and watch my Instagram social media feed, because you'll see it on there, the Fiber Nymph Dye Works one, not my personal one. That does also post to the Facebook page. I don't actively post anything to the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Facebook page, and I may do away with it at some point. I've been saying that forever. It's just gotten more and more complicated to deal with. So anyway, but those two places, the newsletter and the Instagram feed, those are the best places to stay abreast of what's happening in the shop. The newsletter sign up, there's all kinds of places on the Fiber Nymph Dye Works website, which is www.fibernymphdyworks.com, and that is where you will see the newsletter sign up, all kinds of different places. So yeah. And then again, I am planning to do a second August update on Friday the 19th. I haven't decided on the time yet, but I will record another podcast between now and then, so you will be told then when it will be, once I know. But that's everything for the shop. What else? 10%. What's bringing me joy this week is we did go away this past weekend. I mentioned that earlier. And we went to the Soggy Bottom Motorfest. That was the name of this motorcycle event. It was held up in Port Matilda, PA, which is sort of up near Altoona and Tyrone, in case if you know where that's at, in sort of central Pennsylvania. It was hosted by Kissel Motorsports, which is a dealership that we have purchased a couple bikes from, including my Ural, which is my sidecar rig. It was an off-road event, and I do not enjoy off-road riding on two wheels at all. I fall a lot, and I prefer to not do that. So I was fine going and driving the Ural, and I did a great job. Some of the trails that we were on were pretty gnarly. Big rocks, a lot of technical stuff. We did each ride. There were 4 rides throughout the weekend, and there was always an A route or a B route. The A was the highly technical, really, really nasty stuff. We did not do any of those, just because some of those routes I don't think the Ural would have been able to do. Plus, the people we were riding with, some of them aren't super high technical riders. So we did the B routes, which were a little bit easier, and it was a lot more like dirt roads, gravel roads, with just some of the more rocky, like big cobblestone kind of and larger rocks that just was very uneven surfaces that I would absolutely never ever want to drive on 2 wheels. But in the Ural, it's so much fun, and it's very technical in a different way. It takes totally different riding skills. Driving the sidecar, because driving a sidecar rig is nothing like driving a motorcycle. You operate them in totally different ways. Yeah, I'm not going to go into those kind of details, but they're just very different beasts. But I did great, and there was this one point that the hardest obstacle that I had was a very long hill, this big descent that was just. It was narrow in a lot of spots, and it had a lot of just loose rock, big rocks, big like And there were just points where I had to stop and stand up and look down the hill and like track out for myself how to go, because if you're riding two wheels, like, you have to find a track for yourself to go. It's no different there. But when you're driving a sidecar, you have both the motorcycle track and you have to pay attention to where your sidecar is going, that wheel. So you have to like map out two tracks that can work together, that you're not going to end up with your sidecar higher than you. Because you do that enough, you can flip, and you don't want to do that. I've never done that, and I hope I never do. But it's a skill. You got to figure it out. And so it was interesting, and you're doing a lot of quick turns on these little narrow paths, and it was a lot of fun. It was a huge workout. Driving that thing is always a workout. And I was exhausted by the end of that hill. I was exhausted by the end of that weekend. But yeah, it beat me up, but it felt great. And I was really proud of how well I did. That was our weekend. We had a lot of fun. Glad we did it. I was exhausted and my back was killing me by the time I got home. Absolutely. Today is actually the first day. It feels really pretty good. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to go. I will talk to you again probably not next week, but probably the week after. Again, have the shop update happening on Friday next week. Watch for the newsletter and Instagram posts about that on my 5-Minute Dye Works account. If you have questions or comments about anything I talked about today, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Always try to respond. Sometimes I'm a little tardy in my responses, but I always try to get back to you. You can always reach me at any of my contact info that's in the description box below. And again, if you are one of the channel supporters through the membership, thank you so very much. And if you would like to become a supporter of the channel through my membership option, you can find that either below the video. There should be a button that says join, or if you click on the main 5-Minute Dye Works channel page, there should be an option there. And if you can't find it and you would like to, just let me know and I'll try to help you out there. So anyway, I'm going to go and I will talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye.